Hey guys, it's Mr. C, and today we're going to work on reducing fractions and changing them improper fractions to mixed numbers. Now, this is really called simplify. So when we have a number like this, 36/8, and it says to simplify, we're going to try to reduce, and then if the numerator is higher than the denominator, we're going to change that to a mixed fraction. So I'm going to run you through 5 or 6 examples today and talk you through different ways to do this, because there's a number of different ways or steps that you need to do, but sometimes you can change the order. So when we look at 36 and 8, we're going to think about those rules we learned. Now remember the rule of 2. If both numbers are even numbered, then one of the factors will be 2. And the first thing we're going to do when we see a number like this is we're going to analyze the factors. We're going to look for common factors, because when we reduce, you do that by dividing by the greatest common factor. That's how you reduce a number. So on this one, we know that a 2 is going to be a common factor because they're both even numbers. We can go through the other rules. 5 and 10, does it end with a 5 or a 0? Nope, so that's not going to be a common factor. We can go through 3 and 9, that you just get by adding the digits. So 3 plus 6 is 9, so that's going to be a common factor of, or a factor of 36 will be 3 and 9. But 8 isn't a factor of 3 or 9, because if 8 plus nothing is 8, and that's not a factor of 3 or 9. So that won't work. So really we're looking at 2 being a factor. If we want to see if there's a greater common factor, we can take these numbers separately and analyze them. So with 36, we always start with the number itself and with 1. So 1 and 36, those are 2 factors. Then we can go to the next number up, 2. And 2 divided by 36, I know that's 18 because of my math facts, but we can just go 2 into 3 one time. We get 16. 2 goes into 16 8 times, so our answer is 18. There's no remainder on that. So let me erase that real quick to clean that up. All right, so now we've got the factors of 1, 2, 18, and 36. We also know from our math facts that 4 and 9 and 6 and 6. So we can do 4, 9, and then 6 here in the middle. So lots of factors for 36. With 8, not so many. 1 and 8. Then we go to 2 and 4. And that's going to give us all our factors. So we can compare these two lists and see what's the greatest common factor. We've got 2, we've got 4, no 8. So 4 is going to be our greatest common factor. So to reduce 36/8, we just have to divide the numerator by 4, divide the denominator by 4, and that's going to reduce it for us. So 36 divided by 4, we know from our math facts, is 9. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So our answer is going to be 9/2. Now that's one way to do it, and we come up with 9/2. Now before I change this to a mixed number, I want to take you through one other way you can simplify. And when both numbers are even, this is usually what I do because I can do it in my head. I just divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2 until it can't be divided by 2 into a whole number anymore. So 36 divided by 2 is 18. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So that's simplified one step. Then I divide by 2 again. 18 divided by 2 is 9. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So that was way faster than listing out all the factors, finding the greatest common factor. But the truth is, the more you do this, the more you're just going to know what the greatest common factor is, because you'll be able to do a lot of it in your head. Either way, we now have simplified 36/8 to 9/2. Now we need to change that to a mixed number. Now one way you can turn that into a mixed number is simply count how many times would I have 2 2s, or 2 over 2, in this number. So 2 over 2, one time would be 2, 2 times would be 4/2, 3 times would be 6, 4 times would be 8/2, and then after that it goes to 10. So we know it's going to be 4 with 1 left over, which would be 4.5. So that's one way you can change it to a mixed number. Another way you can change it to a mixed number is simply by division, right? 9/2 is a division problem. 9 divided by 2. When you have a division problem, you take the numerator, and that's the one that goes in the box. It's always the top number in the box. So we have 2 divided by 9. 2 goes into 9 4 times. 4 times 2 is 8. Subtract, and we have 1 left over. Now, you're in the habit of saying remainder 1. But when we're dealing with fractions, when we want the remainder as a fraction, we simply take what's left over and we put that as the numerator, and then we take the divisor and put that as the denominator. So we get 4.5. So that's all you do to change 9/2 to a mixed number, is you just divide it and you get 4.5. So that's one problem. Let's go through a few others. Okay, our next problem is going to be 15/9. So with 15/9, let's look at it, greatest common factors. This is one we can do in our head. We have to think, okay, factors of 15 is 1 and 15, 3 and 5. And factors of 9 is 1, 3, and 9. Well, the one that isn't common there is 3. So 15 divided by 3 is 5. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So we just get 5/3. Pretty easy. Now this one, the 5 is bigger than the 3. So again, we can say, well, 3/3 would have 2 left over because 3 plus 2 is 5. So we would just do 3 and 2/3. So that one we can do relatively quickly in our head if we've practiced this a lot. If we need to, we can do 3 divided by 5. 3 goes into 5 one time. Remainder of 2. So 2 and over 1/3. I don't know why I have 3 and 2/3 over here. I totally wrote that wrong. It would be 1 and 2/3. It's a good thing we're checking our work here, doing it multiple times. So we get 1 and 2/3. All right, let's do one more. Let's do one that we don't have to change to a mixed number. So we'll do the numerator smaller than the denominator. This is one where, when I had students do this in class, some of the students came up with the greatest common factor being 6, because we know that 6 goes into 12 and 6 goes into 36. But guess what? 12 also goes into 12, and 12 also goes into 36. So if we think of our math facts, the greatest common factor is going to be 12. Well, 12 divided by 12 is 1. 12 divided by 36 is going to be 3. So this one just reduces to 1/3. That one we can do relatively quickly. Now, if we wanted to do this as a fraction without reducing, we could put 36 in the box. Divide that by 12. 12 goes into 36 3 times. Oh no, you can't do that. What am I thinking? The top number goes in the box. So, can 36 go into 12? No, it can't. The way that we'll do this later is we can do 12.0, and then we'll do it with a fraction. So 36 goes into 120 3 times, and we could draw that out. And it's 1/3 is going to be 0.333 repeating. So we'll get to that in a later lesson. Sorry for messing you up on that one. Okay, let's do one more. 65 over 35. Now immediately on this one, when I'm thinking of the greatest common factors to reduce this, I see that it ends with a 5 and a 5. So I'm going to think 5 is a common factor. I don't know if it's the greatest common factor, but let's start with that one, because that way we don't have to list out all the factors, which is going to be hard in a big number like 65. But to do 65 divided by 5, we can do that pretty quick. So 65 divided by 5, 5 goes into 6 one time. 6 minus 5 is 1, drop the 5. 5 goes into 15 3 times, and there's no remainder. So 65 divided by 5 equals 13. 35 divided by 5, we know from our math facts, is 7. So then we have 13 over 7. Now 7 times 2 is going to be 14, and that's 1 less. So we know that our mixed number is going to be 1 6/7. But if we can't think of that just using mental math, we can always divide 13 by 7. 7 goes into 13 one time with a remainder of 6. So we get 6 over 7. Either way, we get the same answer. So this is how we reduce fractions, convertible to mixed numbers. It's something that we use a ton this year, so if you need to go over this video a few times, it's okay to do that. There's a lot of different ways that we can solve these problems. You can reduce at the beginning or reduce at the end. With finding the greatest common factors, you can just pick a common factor and start from there, or you can find all the factors and go with the greatest common factors. So you've got a lot of options when it comes to simplifying, but simplifying is something that kids mess up on a lot because they don't simplify far enough. So you're going to need to practice this and go through it several times. Good luck. Bye-bye.